Joining me now from the Capitol at Statuary Hall in Washington, D.C., representing Arizona's 8th Congressional District, Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. Congresswoman, I thought it was rather adroit politically of the president to say, hey, at the request of the Democrats, we're not going to make it a concrete barrier. We're going to make it a steel one. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to 65 million other Americans and many more who didn't necessarily vote for Donald Trump but want border security. Doesn't matter. Could be gold-plated. Could be made out of platinum. I don't care as long as there is border security, permanent border security in place. But the president did the right thing here in the call to action. This is exactly what Ronald Reagan did in 1981 to pass his tax cuts. He asked the American people to contact you, members of Congress, and let the members of Congress know how they feel. So my question to you is, are you getting flooded? Are you getting phone calls? Are you getting emails? Are you getting text messages, smoke signals, whatever? And are your colleagues on the other side of the aisle receiving any?
Well, you know, I have been contacted, and overwhelmingly, I think they've all said that they want border security from the people that have contacted me. Now, I wish there were more people that contact me, so if anyone's out there watching, I encourage you to contact your congressman or congresswoman and let them know that you are for securing the border and for the border fence. It's so important so that we can know what you feel. And so I have been contacted, but I wish a lot more people were contacting me with that good news. Yeah. And, you know, the thing that was really astonishing to me last night when the Democrats spoke was that they said, we are manufacturing this crisis at the border. They are absolutely wrong. I have been to the border in Arizona. There is a crisis at our border, and every Border Patrol official and agent has told me there's a crisis at the border and that part of the solution is building a border fence. That's not the only answer, and that's not what the president or Republicans are saying. But part of the answer is definitely needing a border fence, and that's what we're fighting for.
The manufactured crisis, in my opinion, is a constitutional crisis, and that is being put upon the American people by Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, who are refusing to do their Article I jobs. And it says right there, Article I, Section A of the United States Constitution, that it is the job of the Article I branch, that would be the Congress, to secure this republic from foreign invasions and to regulate immigration. This falls under the domain of the Congress, and the American people should want our borders secure. Overall, do you think that the president in that 9-minute speech delivered the message? I think there are a couple of shortcomings. I kind of wonder who's writing his stuff for him. The fact that the Constitution wasn't mentioned, the fact that sovereign nations, you know, he talks about this in his tweets, but for some reason he left it out of the speech that every sovereign nation should defend its borders, and this is crucial. I think there could have been some more visuals, for example, Congresswoman. If in Yuma, you know, in your state, there is border fencing there, and in California, south of San Diego, there is border fencing there, and if he took some animation and maybe, you know, did some highlights of this fencing and brought the two together and showed how, hey, if we seal this off, guess what's going to happen? Illegal immigration is going to go to zero between Yuma and California.
There's a division of opinion here among Republicans.
Well, I think the president did a great presentation, and sure, we could always add more things, but I think he did a really compelling case to the American people of why we need border security, and we need to prioritize U.S. citizens, and that's what our president and that's what the Republicans in Congress are trying to do. It is high time that the Democrats come to the negotiating table. They haven't even come forward with their proposal at all.
Right.
You know, so it's very disingenuous when they say that they want border security and they want to open the government when not one single one of them voted for the Republican bill on December 20th that would have kept the government open and funded border security.
You're a border state, Arizona. You know what's at stake here, and as you said, you've been to the border many times. I've studied the border for many, many years. And we are talking a 2,000-mile long border. We have 20,000 border agents, but there's only 5,000 of those folks on the job in one 24-hour period. So really, it's 2,000 miles of border, 5,000 agents, and by the way, there's maybe a few thousand during the day and a few thousand during the night. And their task is to secure this 2,000-mile-long border and stop what we are now being told is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 illegal immigrants breaching our border every day. It's a numerical impossibility. And so the important message here is that a border barrier, a permanent border barrier in some areas along this border is going to allow these agents to do their sworn duty.
Thank you.
I totally agree with you. And when I went down to Nogales, in the city of Nogales, along the border, they had tall barrier fence. But you get right outside of the city, it's 3 strands of barbed wire. Anybody could go over it. Anybody could go under it.
Right.
This is, we need more. And like you said, there's not enough agents to be there every single minute of the day. And I went down there, I asked the Customs and Border Patrol officials and the agents to their face, I said, do we need a border fence? And they said, absolutely yes. And you know what? They work. As you said, in Yuma, when we put in a fence, it decreased the number of illegal crossings by, I think, 95%.
Right.
We did the same thing in Tucson. We put up a fence. Again, reduced the number of illegal crossings by 90-some%. I think 95, 92%. Walls work. Border fences work. Is it the entire solution? No, but it's part of the solution, and I do not know why the Democrats are fighting this so hard when it's only 0.1% of the entire budget is what we're talking about. That's all that President Trump and the Republicans are asking for, to secure our border, to secure our nation. This is our #1 responsibility at Congress, and I hope they come to the negotiating table.
I know why they're fighting it, Congresswoman, because it goes against the modern Democrat Party's business model. We'll get into that another time. Actually, we're going to get into it a little bit later in the program. Before I let you go, Nancy Pelosi has an idea. Pelosi wants to fund pieces of the government now. Incrementally, kind of going around the whole issue of a border barrier, wants to fund first the IRS, then the Transportation Department, Agriculture Department, Food and Drug Administration, Interior Department. This is a trap. I mean, from a political perspective, this would be a trap if the president were to fall for it and the Republican Party were to fall for it, because what is happening here is an important moment in time in terms of teaching the American people about the Constitution and the power of the presidency. This is the weapon that the president has and must use on behalf of the American people in order to do something on, in this case, national security. It's very important that the Republicans stick together on this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally agree, and I serve on the Rules Committee. I'm a new member on the Rules Committee, and I said just this when these bills were going through the Rules Committee, these separate appropriations bills, is I asked the Democrat members, why is it that you didn't vote for the Republican bill on December 20th that would have kept the government open? We would not have had this problem. So all this is political ploys that I hope the American public is not fooled by it.
Well, I think that the president ought to wait until Monday, give the American people till Monday to see if they can kind of move the public sentiment needle and maybe persuade Chuck and Nancy. And then if that doesn't happen, then I think he ought to think seriously about declaring a national emergency at the border. Congressman Lesko, or Congresswoman Lesko.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. Thank you.
It could, though. Congresswoman Lesko, thank you.